3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey, what's up? My name is Samuel Leeds. Welcome to yet another Winners on a Wednesday, and I want to introduce you to a lady called Anne Hubbard. She's got 2 rent-to-rents, making her a clean profit of £2,000 per month. So in this video, I'm going to be picking her brain, asking her exactly how she did it so that you can do the exact same thing too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and thank you so much for coming to my home.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you.
So you have got 2 rent-to-rents,
Yes.
making £2,000 a month.
Yep.
So massive congratulations.
Thank you.
Where did this all start? Like, how did you even get into property in the first place?
My mum had a block of flats
Yeah.
in Kenya, and I really loved watching her just manage that and look after our tenants, and so inspired from that was just amazing too.
And that was in Kenya?
Yeah.
Okay, so your mom had a block of flats in Kenya,
Yeah.
was making good money.
Yeah, it was
And you thought-
sustaining her in her retirement. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And did you grow up in Kenya?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Kenya.
Okay, so then what happened next?
Then moved to America when I was about 21, and went there to study. I was studying fashion design. Maybe you can cut that one out. But went to study and went through school there. Met my husband second year, and yeah, we've been married ever since.
And your husband, by the way, is an incredible guy.
Yeah.
American, you
Yeah.
guys got married,
Yeah.
and it was him that actually signed you up for the training with myself, which we'll
Yeah.
get on to. So, okay, so grew up in Kenya, moved to America to do studies. How did you end up in the UK?
Curiosity. We would stop in the UK on our way to Kenya because my sisters live here.
Yeah.
So we'd always stop here, see a bit of England, carry on to Kenya. On the way back, do the dip again in England, and then off to Chicago.
Okay.
So we always. So one year we thought, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we can live there for a bit and just see how that feels. So we did.
Great. And,
Yeah.
and you stayed here, so you obviously like it.
Yeah, we've been here 10 years now, 10 and a
Yeah.
half. We do love it. The kids are growing up well, and it's been really wonderful.
Okay, so you, in England,
Yeah.
married,
Yeah.
what are you doing? So when we first met, when you connected, what are you doing for a job and stuff?
I was working for a pharmaceutical company,
Yeah?
and I was an analyst for them.
Okay.
So making sure the drugs are in on time
Yeah.
to save and sustain a life, as their logo goes. Yeah. So
And are you still doing that?
no,
What do you do now? Full-time in property?
full-time in property.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what people want to know today is they want to know how you went from working full-time in a pharmaceutical company
Yeah.
to having more free time and literally being able to quit your work from 2 properties that you do not even own.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like it's a massive deal.
I don't feel like it's a huge deal because, obviously when you see other people doing so much, you aspire to reach those heights.
Yeah.
So I'm still barely scratching the surface.
But generally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
what qualifies you to be on Winners on a Wednesday is if you're making £2,000 a month in recurring property income, then in your full-time property, then that's great. And to you, it doesn't seem like a big deal because you're on the academy and you can see other people that are doing like 10
much.
grand, 20 grand,
Yeah.
like crazy amounts. But actually, to a lot of people, being able to escape out of their job, it's a massive deal. So
Yeah.
why don't you start by telling me, how did you choose rent to rent as a strategy?
I came for the rent-to-rent event back in 2020, just
Yeah.
the beginning of the year. And so that was interesting, thinking about should we go for an SA or should we go for a more, bigger, more stable income. Although the SA would have been amazing to have, but now in hindsight, I think going just during the pandemic, a HMO is more stable
Right.
than having an SA at the moment.
So tell me what does rent to rent mean?
It just means taking someone's property, increasing the value in terms of, the experience for the tenant, and really making it a wonderful home for them, especially if the landlord isn't able to bring it up and or is tired of managing the tenants. So it can be a solution for people who are going through different things in their lives. So in my case, the landlord was an older, lovely gentleman who, during the pandemic, was stuck in India, and he had done up the property. It had been vacant for 2 years prior. He had had really bad experiences with tenants before it being vacant for the 2 years.
Vacant for 2 years?
Yeah, really. And when he did it up, he was thinking, okay, should I give it to the council to put their tenants in? But from his previous experiences, it had just gone south very quickly.
Okay, so that's the ultimate example of a tired landlord.
Yeah, really, like, just do your thing. Just give me my guaranteed rent.
Was he living in India?
He has businesses in Kenya and Uganda, and he's got...
Right.
So he's a bit of an international person.
Where's his home, though?
He lives here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the property?
In Northampton.
And where are you based?
In Northampton.
Right, so you're really close to the property.
Yeah.
I also love when I asked you about what rent to rent was. Straight away, the way you explained it was all about how you add value, what the service is, rather than saying, no, if you said to most people what's rent to rent, you'd say it's where you give the landlord the smallest rent you can, and then you push the value up and you keep the profit in between. Yeah, like that's what.
No.
But you didn't say that. You said it's when you find a landlord who might be struggling or tired, and then when you improve the house, and maybe when the landlord can't, and you turn it into a great home.
Yeah.
You really focusing on the solution.
And we want to really have a fantastic relationship with this landlord. He's really a really good family. Everything is wonderful about him. We call each other just to chit chat. It's really been good for both of us.
Yeah.
So it's a pure win-win.
Why would the landlord let you make? How much are you making on that first property?
That's 900, nearly 1,000 on that one.
Okay, so between £900 and £1,000 a month. Why would the landlord not just do that himself?
Because he has done it before, and his experience wasn't good.
Why do you think that was?
I'm not sure. Maybe what he was attracting, the tenants that he was having come in, the solutions that he was looking at was having the council bring in tenants, for them to give him a sustainable monthly income.
Right.
So by us coming in and really giving him a really good solution, the house is kept up. The tenants are wonderful. You get to choose really good ones. So it's been a really good experience so far.
Now I want to know as well, because you mentioned you were on the rent to rent course with me on the beginning of
2020.
Okay, so early 2020. Now back end of 2019 was when I met your husband at the deal finding extravaganza. Tell me the story of what happened.
So I had signed up to go actually, and then because I wanted him to know, things about property, because I'm so into it. I love property. I'm always like, even when I'm watching TV, I'm like in the background. I'm never even like focused really on the story. But so it was a good opportunity for him to really get to know what it is I'm up to. But at the same time, because he wanted to support me in what I'm doing. Yeah. So he went for the DFE, and then on that second night, I think he called me about 10 o'clock, and he's like, "I've signed you up for the academy." And I'm thinking, okay. And
very supportive husband.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, you're going to do it. I've signed you up. Everything's good to go, and it's. Because I was sleepy, the kids are asleep, I'm thinking, what? It's really late. Okay, you could have waited to come home and tell me all about it. But you need to speak to Chris and get this sorted out, and it's
That's incredible, because a lot of partners, and I know your husband is, what is it that he does? What's his business?
He used to build and design pipe organs for cathedrals.
Right, because all I remember is when I met him at the Deal Finding Extravaganza, he said, look, I've come here kind of on behalf of my wife. I'm interested in property, but she's the person that's really going to make this work because she's got the time and the inclination. I'm really busy. But I said to him, well, let's get your wife on the academy. So he agreed. He thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
He signed you up for the academy, but you were going to be the person that really kind of spearheaded the property business.
Yeah.
And then it was literally just a matter of months before you got your first property.
Yeah, there was one we had gotten in Coventry, and that was around July.
Yeah.
And you know how you really want it to work, but the numbers are saying no, you can't work, and you're like really willing it, but really, it would have been a really bad deal.
Right.
It would have been a really bad decision. We wouldn't have been helping the guy, the owner, because we would have not succeeded on that end.
That's really interesting. Again, your words, like the way you say we wouldn't have been helping him because it wouldn't have worked.
No.
There's got to be money in it for you in order for you to be able to offer the service.
Yeah, and remember, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Because it's you're helping the owner, and you're also supporting your family and yourself. So it has to go both ways. So if we had taken it on, we wouldn't have been happy with the income, and we wouldn't have been, knowing myself, I wouldn't have been able to put pressure on the landlord for him to accept a lower rate just because I want to make some change on it. So it wouldn't have been a win-win.
Talk me through that first deal. How did you find the owner?
On Gumtree.
On Gumtree, interesting. What did you say on Gumtree?
So I wrote a little note on Gumtree, and I said, would you accept a 3 to 5 year lease on your property as a corporate let?
Yeah.
And that was it.
Simple.
Straight to the point, because I didn't want to fluff about and, I just wanted it straight. And so the guy sent a message, and normally I would send messages late at night on Gumtree, just watching TV, just sending those one by one. And so he wrote back, and I'm like, wow, it's really late at night. He wrote back and said, I'll call you at 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. he called, and he was like, this is great. The guy wants a corporate let, and so, because he was an agent in between us, and we agreed. So we had agreed the price, what it would be, and we're like happy to proceed. Can we see it? We went and saw it. It was beautiful. And during the pandemic, it was because we didn't have all this information about how the transmission happened or whatever it is about the disease, how it happens. So going to see the place, how it was awkward walking into a house with a stranger, and you're like, it's COVID season. Anyway, we went, looked at it. It was just beautiful. He had gutted everything. He had put in beds, wardrobe, very simple, very clean. And we were like, wow, we could really make this homely and lovely.
So the agent, what does he get out of this?
I think he got a finder's fee.
Right. So the agent's job is to just find a tenant.
Yeah.
And they're going to get paid by the landlord, and the agent found you. So he got his one-off fee.
He got his one-off fee.
Which he was happy with. He listed it on Gumtree.
Yeah.
But then you, how much did you agree to pay the landlord month by month?
2,000.
Wow, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So £2,000 a month.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not bad. That sounds like a reasonable amount of rent. Were you scared that you'd be committing to paying £2,000 a month and then you couldn't get tenants?
No, because we had run the numbers, and not just running the numbers, we had checked to make sure that there's demand. So we were
How do you do that? How do you do the due diligence?
So you have to go on Spare Room, check if there's people looking for properties that are, or rentals that are above a certain amount, and we knew we could charge that high figure.
Right. So you did thorough due diligence.
Yeah.
And then I think sometimes people say, I'm nervous, I'm scared. And I think you should be, because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, especially because it was, remember the first one, we really wanted it to work, but the numbers were saying it can't work. So we had that little experience of having a deal not work.
Yeah.
So the second one was, okay, we've learned, so now we need to make sure that we feel good and we're happy, and all the parties are fine.
Yeah. How soon after the rent-to-rent training did you find the Coventry property deal?
So that was in July.
Okay, so a few months.
Yeah.
And then when did you secure the Northampton one?
The following month, August.
August,
But
right.
we didn't sign until September the 15th is when the actual document got
I think I remember you
signed.
getting that actually. I think I remember you. We spoke about it, and I remember saying, "Oh man, I want to come round and see it," and you were like, "Well, I'm a bit scared about it."
Yeah, this was after, yeah.
Now you're much more cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know, because I need to fill it first, you know.
You wanted to fill it, and you wanted
Yeah.
to. So talk to me about that. You're paying £2,000 to the landlord. Are you also having to pay for bills and stuff?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of financial commitment.
It is, yeah.
Also, financially, like, where were you at the time? If you couldn't have rented it, would that have crippled you, or were you in a really good place? Where were you at?
We were in a really good place, actually. One of the benefits of being in the academy is knowing like you can raise finance.
Okay.
So this deal was actually supported by Raised Finance.
Nice.
One of my husband's colleagues, his mom was looking to invest money because in the bank she's not getting really what she deserves to be getting.
Yeah.
So that was a really good...
So they put the money in.
They put the money in. And my daughter also gave us some money.
Oh, nice.
And we signed a contract, and every month we give her interest on her commitment.
Very
and
good.
It's really, yeah.
So for you, it was a no money down deal.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
rent to rent doesn't need masses of money anyway.
No.
It's just normally the deposit, maybe some furniture, a few
Yeah.
things. You said the property was already in a good state. How much money
Really?
was needed to put down?
So we put down the 2,000 deposit and then the first month's rent.
Yeah.
And then we did the furnishings. So in total, if we're not counting the deposit, it was about 4,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So not crazy money.
not crazy money, but good enough to sort of...
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
enough to put some people off.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, you'd already invested in training. Now you're
Yeah.
investing in the rent to rent. It's quite a lot of money to put down.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, as you said, you learned the skills on the academy of raising finance and how to,
Yeah.
which you used. But still, it's quite a risk. A lot of people in your situation would have been quite worried. And I think that's where, what I was just saying, people are usually worried when they don't know what they're doing. When you know what you're doing, you can be more confident.
Yeah. And
You
the condition of the house was
Yeah.
a big plus. We didn't need to come in and do carpets, do the
Yeah.
interlinked fires. We didn't need... It was a full-fledged HMO.
You knew what you were doing. Did you have a break clause in place?
Yes, it's a 6-month.
Right. So worst
Break
case,
clause.
after 6 months, you could walk
Yes,
away.
yeah.
So what happened then? So you got the keys. What happened next?
So we got the keys. So this was absolutely bonkers. So we got the keys before we signed the contract. And so we got furnishings, we got, decorated a room, get it show ready, for the tenants to come and
Yeah.
see. And so we actually had before you sign the contract, you want to start marketing already.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
so that when the time comes, it's just...
Exactly.
Yeah. So we got the keys, the tenants came in, so we got 2 really interested ones, and we're like, okay, fine. And then later on, we've come to find that the landlord had 3 agents working for him to find this property.
Oh, no.
So we were thinking, okay, so what's happening? One agent was telling him, you have to give them a commercial lease. They have to pay 6 months up front, and not just pay 6 months up front, it has to be fully insuring, what do you call FRI? Fully, whatever that lease is. FRI.
Anyway, they wanted all kinds of extra stuff.
Extra, and we're thinking, wow, you want like more than $6,000 up front.
Oh.
We're not ready to even like think about that at this
Yeah.
time.
So what happened?
It fell through. So we had to give back the key.
No.
Because we weren't going to give him all that money up front.
Yeah.
We know it's a good deal, but not in that kind of dimension,
Yeah.
So it was, I remember calling Alice there and saying, okay, this is not happening. My deal is falling through. What should I do to save it? It was like, then he had me call Ricky, and Ricky was like, Anne, let me just be straight. It's not a good deal. I was like, okay. Okay, so.
Hang on, is this the deal in Northampton?
Yeah.
So it fell through?
It fell through, yeah.
And then what happened?
So a week or two after, because we have tenants now, right? They've come to
Oh
see
my,
the place.
this
We're
sounds stressful.
it was crazy. So I sent a message to the landlord. We were in touch at this time. And I said, listen, I've got 2 tenants. Whoever is managing your property, it's really nice. They love it. Do you want them? I wasn't going to charge him a finder's fee or any. I was like, do you want it? Do you want the 2 tenants? And he was like, what? You're giving me tenants after everything's fallen flat?
Yeah.
And so he said, okay. And then Jeff suggested to ask him if he understood what we were offering. And so I wrote to him and said, did you understand that we were offering you a guaranteed rent for this much and this much? We're going to take over the bills. You won't have anything to worry about. You just sit back and, wait for your monthly check. And he's like, no, I didn't know that. And I thought, what? Okay, so that's what we're offering. And a week later, he was like, okay, fine. I'll be in the UK. Finally, I can fly over, and we can sign it then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the lesson in that?
A no is never a no.
Yeah.
Be generous,
Yeah.
be open and honest in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. And also the fact that you gave so much value.
Yeah.
You tried to help. You tried to serve before getting a deal. You put a relationship over money.
Yeah.
And then the money follows.
Yeah.
Which is the absolute core of what we teach on the academy. So, and it fits with your nature.
It does, because I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't,
So,
yeah.
some people that would have tried to go in and get the deal, what happened to the agent in the end? Did they feel silly?
No, because I don't think maybe they didn't understood, because I think they were competing with each other, the agents, because they knew each other.
And you just went
out.
straight to the landlord direct, offered him some value, boom, got the deal.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then, once you got the deal, you got the keys, you got the contracts, you're paying the landlord £2,000 a month. What happened next?
To now newly find the tenants, dress it up, and the tenants came, and it's a new experience looking for tenants, actually, because I'd never looked for tenants before. But you meet people and you sort of, do we gel, do we not?
Yeah.
How is it? Because it's a bit of a long-term-ish relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, going through tenants and really checking them out, and as you say, having a empty room is better than having a bad tenant in it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You're better off to have no tenant than a bad tenant.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to fill the house?
It took us, December is when we had the last one in.
So how long was that since when you got the contract signed?
So September to December is the last room, but we filled it out one by one all the way to the end.
Great.
Yeah.
And then were you ever at a loss during those months, or did you manage to break even?
Yeah, we managed to break even.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you broke even, then you started making a bit of profit, then a bit more profit, and then the house was full.
Yeah.
Are those tenants still there now?
No, actually, one of them got COVID, unfortunately, and so caused the others to stay home. And with that, we lost one who said, I can't stay because he needs his support bubble. We were like, yes, whatever you need for your good life, just go do it quickly.
Yeah.
So he wanted to leave after before his tenancy ended. Okay. And we were fine with it because we can't hold anyone hostage. We want to. Yeah.
So one moved out. Did you just replace him?
We're just waiting to replace him now.
Apart from that, they're all still.
Apart from that, one other, because she was a student, we had one student in the house. And so when she left, we got someone just instantly back in.
How many rooms are there?
6.
6. So you're making, how much profit are you making a month?
927.
927.
Yeah.
And is that after all your maintenance, voids, costs, everything? That's how much you're left with profit?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, for a fast deal, yeah.
Yeah, and then you went and got another deal.
So that one was born out of the first one.
Right.
So one of the agents who was working with the landlords, he was doing his HMO application for him.
Yeah.
So he came to the house to look at it because just to make sure that things are fine or whatever he needed for his paperwork. And he really liked what we were doing with the place. And he said, oh, I've got another one. Do you want it? And we thought, what? Yes.
You know what? It's like one Gumtree message.
One.
And now you've got two rent-to-rents. How much profit is the second property?
It's going to be just over 1,000.
Just over 1,000. So one's just under 1,000, one's just over 1,000?
Yeah.
So £2,000 a month from one Gumtree message.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What have been the key lessons throughout the last year on the academy and getting these rent-to-rents?
It's been a journey, you know, the disappointments and then things working out and like you said, discipline your disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, some days you call the agents and it doesn't work, but you just keep going.
When did you quit work?
December 31st was my last day.
And was that back into last year?
Yeah.
And how did that happen? Talk to me about what happened.
I was really stressed at work and trying to think about property. I didn't really have the mental space to think about property because I was working for a pharmaceutical company. So the demand for drugs during COVID was mental.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't bear it anymore because since COVID began a year yesterday, when we started working from home, it was you're on it 110% every single day, some nights up to 3 a.m., really long hours. And I just had to go do my life as hard as I'm doing that life.
Yeah.
Is how I felt about it.
What do you mean by that?
Because you work so hard. You work so hard at your job, and then you forget to work so hard for what you really, really want, which is what your true calling. For me personally, this is my true calling.
It's almost like if you work on your business as hard as most people work on their job.
Yeah.
Because most people spend so much time trying to build someone else's thing. But you've spent part-time on top of your job during the academy.
Yeah.
You've got 2 deals that have now meant that you can go full-time into property.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. What's next? What's next for Anne Hubbard?
So there's the agent has 2 other 8 beds, because the second one is an 8-bed house.
Yeah.
And it's got 2 others attached to it that are in great condition. And we're hoping to get those 2 as well.
Nice.
I'm setting up the deal sourcing side of things.
Incredible.
So I can kickstart that.
So this is just the beginning for you.
This is really the beginning.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because the academy is obviously a 12-month training program, but it's not a case of like when you go to university and then when you finish, hopefully you'll go and get a job, hopefully you'll go and make some money. The academy, it's a case of doing it alongside the training, which is what you've done.
Yeah.
It's been 12 months, which is great, but of course, you know what it's like. Once you're part of the family, you kind of always are.
Yeah.
What's your experience been like with the training? What was it like? What happened?
It's been great, actually. There's a lot to discover. With property, I think once you go through the training and then you have to go find the depth of where you want to be. So there's a lot of discoveries. There's a lot of unknowns, obviously, because nobody teaches you about property at school.
Yeah.
So there's really big gaps to be filled to be able to be really successful. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And having the academy members you can bounce off ideas, or people are asking questions on the text, and you can, sort of fill them in with what you know, and then they can fill in with what they know. It's really, it becomes a good environment to gel with different people who are, doing different things than you are, and really inspiring.
How's life changed now than say 1 year ago?
Oh yeah, it's a load off, coming from being trained to be an employee and now being self-employed and really just doing your thing successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does your husband, Jeff, what does he make of all of this? Because I know he was the person that really championed you at the beginning.
Yeah.
What does he make of what you've done?
He loves it. We're doing it together now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Final piece of advice to someone watching this, thinking I'm really inspired, Annie's amazing, and I want to follow in the footsteps of Anne, and I want to start getting my first properties. I want to become full-time in property. I want to be successful, starting with maybe not lots and lots of money. what would be your best top tips for them to get started?
Do something.
Yeah.
Do something and find someone who has done what you're up to and ask them, and go everywhere to get any information you can to really get that desired fulfilled.
Incredible.
Yeah, just do something.
Well, hey, thank you for coming down. It's been a real delight to hear your story.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm really excited about seeing you go and get more and more and more deals.
Yeah.
You're a great person, and you and your husband deserve every success that you've got.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me. It's really, I know I'm barely scratching the surface, but I'm really inspired to do more.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I think you'll agree, it was an incredible story what she's done, what she's achieved in a short amount of time, starting with using other people's money, making £2,000 a month from properties that she doesn't even own. It's pretty admirable. So drop a like, drop a comment. Every single week I interview another student that's become successful and had their lives transformed through property. If you want to see more interviews like this, you can see a whole playlist where there's over 100 right up here. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, where you can do that up here. And if you want to join me at the Property Investors Crash Course where it all starts, I'll leave a link in the description below. Thanks so much. See you next time.